Guys, when the moment for intimacy arrives, you need to be ready. Roman ready. Whether you've been in a relationship for years or you're just getting started, having the confidence that comes from preparation means that you're free to enjoy the moment when the moment comes. Even though you are far from ordinary, the truth is ED is really common. With Roman, you can get a free online evaluation and ongoing care for erectile dysfunction, all from the comfort and privacy of your home. A U.S. licensed healthcare professional will work with you to find the best treatment plan. If medication is appropriate, it ships to you free with 2-day shipping. The whole process is straightforward, convenient, and discreet. Getting started is simple. Go to GetRoman.com/Chael. Do it today. And if you're prescribed, you're going to get $15 off your first month of ED treatment. Make sure you are ready and you have confidence. Roman ready. So Ariel Helwani agrees with me. I was on Ariel's Twitter feed, and he made a side-by-side. It was Jon Jones and Stipe Miocic. And then Ariel put a caption, and he said, and I'm not quoting, but paraphrasing, if Francis Ngannou is going to be out for a considerable amount of time, whether that's due to negotiations or the knee injury, I would be down, meaning Ariel himself, I would be down to see Stipe versus Jon Jones. Great. Now, I only say he's agreeing with me because that's how I see it too, guys. I don't think that we're all of a sudden the world's greatest matchmakers for just calling for an awesome fight between the former light heavyweight champion versus the former world heavyweight champion. It seems to make all the sense in the world. What surprises me is why am I and Ariel the ones saying it and not Jones and Stipe? Jones has made it very clear. He wants to make more money. Dana White has made it very clear. Get more people to watch you. Now, Jon talked about this right after he got inducted into the Hall of Fame. Said, I've never really been into selling a fight. That's just not something I do, but I'm going to learn. I've got a mechanism that allows me to make more money, but I got to get more people interested. I'm adding words to what Jon said, but Jon was right. He was very clear. He was very candid, and this is what he needs to do. I'm not seeing that. Now, I do think that Jon had a lot of things going his way. There's happenstance here with whatever's going on with Ngannou and the fact that Gon did not win. But I do believe the constant that we have, if we're going to do an interim belt, is Jon Jones. And by constant, I just mean of who Dana's going to pick and who Dana's going to put in. I'm quite confident in telling you one of those people that will at least be offered is Jon Jones. I think that Jon will accept that. So the question becomes, who's Jon's opponent going to be? Stipe Miocic, Ariel and I, same page, makes all the sense, but Stipe hasn't said that, and neither has Jon. And if Jon wants to sell more tickets, he needs to get more interest. Jon is also a little bit entitled if he believes what I just said, which is that he for sure will be offered. I believe that. But if I was in Jon's shoes, I would not assume anything. I would be working for it. And there is a very big difference in fights that get made by the organization, fights that get made by the media, and fights that get made by the fighters. There is a very meaningful difference in the bounce and the steam that gets rolling down the tracks at. I do think that Stipe is a very reasonable to be the other side, but Stipe needs to take a real good look at this and say, okay, do I want to fight Jones or do I want to fight Surreal? I'm fighting for the interim championship. So who do I want my partner to be? And I think that Stipe would be in a very good position to speak up and go first. It looks like Stipe would match up pretty damn well with Surreal Khan, but Jon Jones could make that same statement. Between the three of them, the missing link or the weak link here appears to be Surreal, but Surreal might have the best argument. He's got a better record than any of them. He's beaten as many men as any of them. He held one more championship in the heavyweight class than one of them, being Jon. I mean, Surreal's got a real argument here. We saw Surreal's inability to bring self-promotion and attention to his own career. We saw it leading up into his last fight. It was abysmal. But if he's the next best thing to Francis and Francis is out by default, he's got an argument. And guys, that was looked into. You guys remember when Justin Gaethje got beat by Khabib. It was not a competitive match. It was one-sided. Gaethje disappeared for a minute. And Dana, the first time he spoke about Gaethje, said, yeah, when I bring Gaethje back, I just might put him right into a world title fight. And Dana even qualified the reasoning, saying he was clearly the next best guy. And if number one's gone, then just by proxy, He's the one left standing. That ended up not playing out. But we still got to look behind the curtain. We still got to look into the mindset. So Surreal is not without an argument here. He just needs to start making it. And I'm talking about, I think Jon participation in spot is solidified. I think that. Because we've been told that Jon could come right and fight for a championship. That's the only deduction I have. That's not necessarily the situation we're in. We don't know what makes Jon Jones tick. Jon Jones was doing this whole I'm scared of Francis routine. Jon Jones was getting ready for Francis. That's specifically who Jon wanted to match up with. And Jon could have lost interest. I'm stretching right now. I think that Jon wants to fight. I know that he needs to go back to work. I also know that he's put a lot of work in changing his physiology to heavyweight. I think we can be confident that Jon wants to fight, but I will be positive when I tell you this. There's 3 guys right now. Surreal, Stipe, and Jon. Whichever 2 speak up first is who's going to have the fight. It is very hard to slow those things down. It's very hard to stop. It's very hard to not be heard when you're the only one speaking. You've got 3 of the quietest guys in the sport, but Jon has openly said, I need to do things different for this one. This one is now. The time is right now. This is upon us. So, Jon, do you want to fight Stipe or do you want to fight Surreal? Same thing goes for Stipe. If you want to make sure that you're the one that's in there with Jon, call for the fight now because Surreal hasn't, and Surreal's not going to, but Surreal's people can be telling him the same thing. Hey, Surreal, speak up because Stipe ain't going to say anything if he had a mouthful of it. It's an interesting situation. Ariel's seeing it. I'm seeing it. You guys are seeing it. It looks like an interim title is upon us. What's the harm in getting a little bit of a head start?